Now that we have the basic shelves, the base cabinets and the wall cabinets up and ready to go, it's time to design the faces of the cabinets. So that means on the base cabinet we need to put in the doors and drawers, and on the wall cabinets we just need to put on the doors. So looking at this, you can see that we have a stove here, the refrigerator's here, and the sink is right here. So anytime that you go to start working in the kitchen, always start at the sink. This sink is centered on this bank of cabinets, and almost every single sink that ever goes into a kitchen usually goes into a 36-inch wide base cabinet. So that's what we need to do. We need to decide what sizes of cabinets that we're going to use. Now in my YouTube channel there is an AutoCAD series, and video number 22 of that AutoCAD series has a lecture that shows you what sizes cabinets can be, what the doors could look like, all kinds of information. So definitely check that out if you don't know much about kitchens. Knowing that this sink is centered, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use guidelines to help me map out where my cabinets are going. That's the first step. So the first thing I need to do is I need to determine where that 36-inch cabinet is that this sink is sitting in. So again, the sink is centered. So the easiest way to do this is to grab the measuring tape tool, and I'm going to drag out a guideline on the face of the base cabinets, and then I'm going to find the midpoint, and the midpoint's always this little cyan circle. So I'm just going to drop this right here. So there's the midpoint. 36 inches is the cabinet, so that means that I need to go 18 inches to the right and 18 inches to the left, and 18 plus 18 equals 36. So this is where the cabinet ends and another cabinet begins. Same thing on this side. This is where the cabinet ends and this is where the cabinets begin. What I also need to determine is where are the other cabinets, like what sizes are those? What are those looking like? I also realized after I designed this kitchen that I forgot to put in a dishwasher, and if I'm on vacation, I sure as heck don't want to do any dishes by hand. So let's insert a dishwasher. The dishwasher must go on either the left side or the right side of the sink. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and choose the left side, and I'm going to show you how to cut a hole in these cabinets so that you can insert a dishwasher that you find on like 3D Warehouse. So a dishwasher, the width is almost always 24 inches. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to go to the left 24 inches. So this is where my happy little dishwasher is going to live. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil tool and I'm going to go directly underneath the countertop all the way down to the cabinet face. Now remember that we have a toe kick, and I'm not drawing on the toe kick yet. I'm just drawing on this front face of the cabinet. And I'm going to draw a line there as well. I'm going to use the push-pull tool. So see how I have different faces? So here's this cabinet, here's this cabinet. I am going to push this in as far as it will let me. And what it does is it pushes until it's flush with the toe kick. Now what I want to do is I want to draw two lines to help me separate this area from the toe kick, because it's already separated from the cabinets now. So I'm going to take my pencil tool, I'm going to zoom in, and right here in this corner I'm going to draw a line straight down. I'm going to do the same thing in the other side. Right where it's flush with a toe kick, I'm going to draw a line straight down to the floor. I'm also going to erase this line that appeared. So now I have this whole face that I am able to now push in until I get this where it says on face in group. You can also type 1'9" and it will erase that space. So now I have a nice empty hole where a dishwasher can go. And if I really want to get my OCD cap on, I'm going to take the eraser tool and I'm going to get rid of these extra lines. Extra lines can cause trouble, I have found in SketchUp, so I try to make it as simple as possible by minimizing the amount of lines that there can be. So I still have a toe kick, and now I have a space. Now I can go to 3D Warehouse, I can find a dishwasher, and I can fit it right in. Alright, so with that completed, let's work on the rest of the cabinets. So let's measure this little guy right over here. He is 1'10½". So that is not a typical size. 1'9" is, however. So that means that I need to add a 1.5 inch filler. And the easiest way for me to do that is to add it over here next to the wall. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put in a guideline to help me, 1.5 for 1.5 inches. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line. Now I know where that happy little filler lives. I'm getting all Bob Ross on you guys. But this is where the filler is, and now my cabinet itself is 1'9", which is perfect. So this is going to be one cabinet. Let's come over on the other side over here. How wide is this? This is 3'10½". So again, I'm going to need to put a 1.5 inch filler. It's up to you to decide where you want it to go. I think it makes sense to match what's happening on the other side. So we'll put a filler right here, and it's going to be an end panel filler, so it's going to have a side associated to it. So let's go ahead and get that little filler in. So I'm drawing a guideline 1.5 inches over. And I'm taking my pencil tool, I'm not going into the countertop, I'm going right below the countertop, and I'm just drawing a line to signify that there's a filler living there. So now, let's do that with the sink cabinet. Let's just get this all put in. This is the middle part of the cabinet, so don't put anything there. And now you can see that we have faces. So here's one cabinet, here's the sink cabinet, and here's what's left over. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. If you want this to be a cabinet all into itself, you sure can. Let's see what size that is. It is 3'9". So if you want it to be a 2-drawer, 2-door cabinet, you could sure make it that way. I think I am going to keep it as that. Now on this side, I'm going to give you a little tip from me to you. If you know that you are never going to see this side of the cabinets, then don't model it. I have a lot of students who model everything and they put a lot of heart and soul into it, and then when they get to their final project, they take pictures and some of the things they model never show up. So if you know that you are only going to take a picture of the kitchen from this direction, don't worry about modeling the face of these cabinets. Other places to think of are like the closet. Like you could design the most amazing closet, but if you're not taking pictures of it and if you're not seeing it in any kind of view, then you just did a whole lot of work for really nothing. So I am going to go ahead and model the front faces of these two, but you should probably think a little bit if you want to go ahead and do that. Alright, I'm going to start with the sink cabinet because I think that's a great area to work on first. So I need to add 2 doors and 2 drawers. The drawers are false fronts, but honestly all of these are going to be false fronts because we're not creating doors that are going to open up into the actual cabinet, okay? We are just modeling the faces essentially. Drawer fronts usually come down about 7 inches from the bottom of the countertop. So I'm going to draw a guide straight down and I'm going to choose 7 inches. Typically on cabinets, there's little spaces between the doors and the drawers. So I'm going to map this whole cabinet out for those spaces. I'm going to do about a 1/2 inch between the 2 doors, a 1/2 inch between the 2 drawers, and a 1/2 inch in between the door and drawer. That also means that I need to have a 1/2 inch on the perimeter of the cabinet. So if you're confused at all, I really highly recommend you watch me until I get this entire cabinet faced, and then you can go forward and work with SketchUp. Alright, so 1/2 inch. So I'm going to start with the perimeter. I'm going to grab this side and I'm going to come in 0.5 inches. I'm going to come at the bottom up 0.5 inches. Don't do it at the toe kick. Do it at the actual cabinet area where the wood is located. Here's the right side of this cabinet, so I'm coming in 0.5 inches. And I'm also going to do the same thing for underneath the countertop, 0.5 inches. So think of your fingers need to get in between the countertop and the actual drawer itself in order to pull it out, especially if you're not going to have hardware on your cabinets. Then we also need a 1/2 inch in between the doors and drawers. So right now I have the middles figured out. So what I need to do is I need to divide it in half. So I'm going to go 0.25 to the right and 0.25 to the left. Same thing here. I'm going to go up 0.25 and I am going to go down 0.25. So we have something that looks like this. This indicates where the drawer front is. This indicates where the door front is. So taking a rectangle, I'm going to go to the corner and then I go to the diagonal. And it's always the first line that you hit is the one that you set the rectangle to. Same on the other side. So we're keeping a line directly in the middle because this is helping us space out our drawer fronts. It's the same thing for the doors. I'm going to go to this one and then I'm going to bring it all the way down to the diagonal. And I'm leaving a space all around to help with fingers, to help with hinges. We see a little bit of that cabinet face. This is called a partial overlay. So again, we have dash lines in the middle, and that's just helping us space out the distance between the doors and the drawers. Alright, so to do a full 3D model, I'm going to use the push-pull tool, and I'm going to pull it out 0.5 inches. Same thing with the door, pull it out 0.5 inches. And there we have a three-dimensional cabinet face. Now it's up to you to decide how much further you want to take it. There are doors on cabinets that look just like this. They're called slab doors. There are other types of door fronts, and if you do Google and then you search for like cabinet door styles, you will find plenty of styles out there. How fancy you get is up to you. It depends on your client. It depends on the look of the kitchen that you're going for. I'm going to show you how to do a simple drop panel with an arch at the top. It's up to you to decide if you want to mimic it or not, but at least you have the information for how to go about doing it. I am going to use the offset command and I'm going to give this door a frame. So I'm going to do offset and I'm on the front edge of the door. And I'm going to go to the inside 1.5 inches. Just so that you can see it's created two different faces. I do want to have an arch up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the measuring tape tool and from this point I'm going to go straight down 1.5 inches. I'm going to take the 2-point arc that we used earlier and I'm going to start an arc, I'm going to end the arc, and then I'm going to finish it by bringing it right up to that point. I'm going to use the eraser tool to get rid of these extra lines that we don't need anymore. And you can see that I have a nice design on the front of my door. And if you want to take it even a step further, you can either pull it out or you can push it in to give the desired effect that you're looking for. I'm going to push it in and type 0.25 for 1/4 inch, and then you'll see that the panel just goes slightly back. And that's the look I'm going for on my cabinets. So let's practice that one more time on this other door. Offset, grab the edge of the front door, pull it in, type 1.5 for 1.5 inches, I'm going to use the arc command to start, end, and finish the arc. Eraser tool to get rid of those extra lines. And then I'm going to use the push-pull tool to push it in just a little, type 0.25, and then you're done. So if you need to write those measurements down on a separate piece of paper, please do, because you can get kind of confused moving forward. Let's do the same thing to the drawer fronts. Let's put a little arch and a dropped-in panel. Offset, find the edge, move it in 1.5 inches. Same thing here, 1.5 inches. This one's going to look a little strange, so I came down 1.5 again here. Let's see what that looks like. 1.5 inches there. We're going to use the arc command to draw in those arcs. We're going to erase the extra lines. You start to feel how monotonous this is going to be because you're going to do this to all your cabinets. Push it in 0.25 and push it in 0.25. And there, ladies and gentlemen, frogs, dogs, and logs, we have our front faces looking pretty darn good. So your goal is to repeat this with other cabinets. So let's go over here. This cabinet is all by itself, and because of its size, it's going to only get one door and one drawer. So I need to do the same thing that I did over here. I have to do the perimeter spacing first. It's already done actually down here at the bottom, so that's kind of nice. This is the edge of the cabinet, so I'm going to take my measuring tape tool, grab it, and come over 0.5. And then I'm going to come over here 0.5, and it is also already determined right up here, and I can also see where the doors and drawers are going to go. So rectangle tool, I'm going to come up to this point right here. I'm going to go past this first dash line to the second one, and there is where the drawer front is. Skip a line and then come down here to get in your door. So there's still spacing on the perimeter, which is good, and there's spacing with a line in between the door drawer, so that matches what's happening over here. I'm going to pull out the door 0.5 inches, same with the drawer, 0.5 inches, offset, bring it in 1.5, use the arc command and this dash line to help me draw that in. Use the eraser tool to get rid of excess lines. Repeat the same step up above, offset, make sure you get the edge 1.5 inches, arc tool, beautiful, eraser, and then push pull, push it in 0.25 inches, push it in 0.25 inches. It can be really hard sometimes if you're pushing and pulling on the wrong thing, so really pay attention to what you're pushing and pulling on, and that cabinet is completed. I'm going to go over how to do this cabinet with you guys because we're going to do a full cabinet. So a 3'9" gets two doors and two drawers. What we need to do first is we need to find the middle of this area, and that can be a little tricky. So this is the cabinet right here. Remember that we have a filler on the end and we don't count that as part of the cabinet. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw a line from diagonal of the cabinet. So I'm going to go right here to the diagonal of the other cabinet. This is a temporary line. It's designed to help me find the midpoint easily. Measuring tape tool, I'm going to pull from this line and I'm going to look for that center point, which is right there, that little cyan circle. Now it's marked. Now I can take this line and I can delete it. And now I can retrofit this cabinet. So remember, this is where the cabinet ends, so we need to give it a little space. I always start perimeter and then I work on the inside. So pull a guide 0.5 inches. The top and the bottom are already completed. The left side I need to pull 0.5 inches. Now I know where the drawer front goes. Actually, no, I don't, because I need to do that same thing here. So remember that I want 0.5 in between. So that means that when I pull a guide, I'm actually pulling 0.25, because 0.25 plus 0.25 equals 0.5. And I think I screwed that up a little bit, so I'm going to try that again. I think I pulled something away from something. Measuring tape. Make sure you get that red line, or green depending on where you're at, 0.25. Same thing this direction, red line, 0.25. That looks much better. Always double check and make sure that all your lines are actually on the surface. The only one that's not are the ones that are helping me to find the arches, so we're okay for right now. So rectangle. Start it here, right there, come down, we'll get the door drawn in. I had to use zoom extents because I went right into the cabinet and I hate that. So even me, I've got like at least 3 years experience with SketchUp. I still struggle with orbit and panning and all that. So if you're struggling with it, you're in good company. And we'll get this side. We're going to pull these out 0.5 inches. Pull 0.5 inches. 0.5 and 0.5. Offset command. Let's just do all the offsetting at once as well. Find the method that works best for you. Find your groove. That's the most important thing. 1.5 inches for these. And 1.5. Got to put in our arcs now. Start, end, finish. Start, end, finish. Start, end, finish. Start, end, finish. And then let's erase these extra lines. Monotonous work. This is why I like to put on music and just go for it. I do love drafting. I do love modeling. I think it's so cool. Easy work once you get the hang of it. And then I'm going to push it in 0.25 inches. Alright, so now what you need to do is you need to do the same thing for these two cabinets if you want to, and you also need to do this for the upper cabinets. I'm going to go ahead and do delete guides because I got finished with all of those. I do want to talk a little bit about what's happening here at the sink. So normally at a sink cabinet, we do not have a full-length cabinet right there. It's usually either no cabinet or it's a half-height cabinet. So we need to mark where that is. And then good tip for good kitchen design is whatever your cabinets are on the base, match that up on top, any chance that you can get. So if this is a 24-inch cabinet, this should be a 24-inch. If there's a 1.5-inch filler, there should be a 1.5-inch filler. Make them very matchy-matchy. But I do want to make sure that this wall cabinet is half height because I don't want to hit my head while I'm doing dishes on things. So again, this cabinet was centered, so I'm going to find the center of this, so I'm going to use a guide. And I'm going to go up to the top and find that cyan circle. 18 inches to one side and 18 inches to the other. Now I know where that cabinet lives in its own little happy cabinet world. I use a pencil so that I can separate it from the other cabinets. And then what I'm going to do, let's do this. I'm going to do a 15-inch cabinet. So I'm going to go from the top and go down 15 inches. And I'm going to do this face. And here we go. Are you guys ready for this? Here's where the magic happens. Push-pull tool. I'm going to push it in just a little. This whole thing was 12 inches thick. So I'm going to type 12, enter, and it cuts out that hole. So now we have a half-height cabinet right above the sink, and it fits perfectly. So now it's just a matter of coming in to these cabinets and matching what's happening down below. Now this one has a cabinet and a dishwasher, but they're both the same size, so you can just make 2 doors the same size here and 2 doors the same size here. But you still need to do the whole perimeter spacing so that it looks realistic. So I'll do it with this one, and then I will show you what it looks like when I get done with everything. Guide. Measuring tape, bring it over 0.5 inches, from the top 0.5 inches, 0.5 inches, and up 0.5 inches. We know where the center is, and I know that I want 0.5 inches in between my 2 doors here, so I'm going to come over 0.25. And again to the left, not that particular guide, I always do that. There we go, 0.25, enter. So now I know that there's 0.5 spacing, so now I can take my rectangle, push it out 0.5 inches, push it out 0.5 inches, offset to the inside 1.5 inches. I'm going to draw a guide so that I know where to put the arches. So again, that's down from this particular point 1.5 inches. Let's offset this door as well. 1.5 inches. Arc tool, start, end, finish, start, end, finish, erase the extra out, and then push it in 0.25, push it in 0.25, and there are the wall cabinet doors. It's the same thing for this, you guys. Make sure that you put those fillers in, so let me do that with you. Over 1.5, and this is where the filler lives, and it goes from the very top to the very bottom. Same thing over here, there's a 1.5 filler on this side. Over 1.5, draw a line, tippy top to tippy bottom. Now you know where this cabinet lives, and now you know where this cabinet lives. If you want to have 2 cabinets in here, you are more than welcome to do that, but it's okay to do it this way as well. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that you can see what's going on. And I'm not going to go ahead and demo the rest of it, but I am, through the magic power of video editing, going to show you what the end looks like. La! Here is the kitchen all finished. So again, we have a filler, we have 0.5 inches perimeter around each cabinet, 0.5 inches in between each door and drawer. You can see where each cabinet starts and ends. Yep, we got arches on all of our doors, and I even did these guys just in case. I just don't know if I'm going to model this area or not. I'm not going to worry too much about it.